Welcome to the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast, where master business coach Janet Fish and her special guests explore the characteristics and traits that lead entrepreneurs to success. Get ready for real conversations of what it takes to overcome real challenges and break away from your competition. Here's your host, Janet Fish.
Thanks, Ben. Before I launch into this week's episode, a word from our sponsor. If you're considering purchasing a new home and want a complimentary 30-minute pre-approval consultation, text the words home loan to area code 408-799-6853. Ross Rushton is a California licensed loan officer with Fairway Independent Mortgage. He can help you get into that new home you've always desired. If you listen to the podcast, you know I'm a huge fan of becoming an author. I think every entrepreneur should write a book. I've written 5 books, and I'm a 2-time Amazon best-selling author. You, too, can be an Amazon best-selling author, and my guest today, Suzy Prudden, can help you get there. Suzy Prudden is a legend, an internationally acclaimed speaker and seminar leader, New York Times best-selling author, fitness expert, body-mind pioneer, hypnotherapist, success and empowerment coach, TV host, radio host, and now book publisher. In this episode, Suzy and I talk about why you need to write a book and how to use that book to build your business. If you've always wanted to become an author, if you're sitting at home right now with a little extra time on your hands, now is your time to write a book. I hope you enjoy our chat. All right, Suzy Prudden, welcome back to the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast. I had you on, it was back in May, episode 15, where we talked about dinner at your place, which I want to talk a little bit about that before we go into our real topic for today. But I want to talk a little bit about your just ingenuity about creating. So you created dinner at your place as a Zoom place for people to meet on Friday afternoons, Friday evenings, happy hour-ish, because we couldn't any longer go out and do in-face meetings. So talk a little bit about where that came from, what you thought you identified as people's needs, and how you fill that need.
Thank you for asking me that, Janet. There's so much in my life that I do just by intuition. And what happened, that was the week that we were locked down. And I was supposed to be in 3 different cities that week because my marketing was, until that Monday, always in person at events, either sponsoring, speaking, participating, some way. I was always involved. I was involved in events, and I was supposed to leave I came back from San Diego that Sunday night. I had been at an event. I was supposed to leave the following morning for Santa Cruz, and from Santa Cruz, Santa Rosa, from Santa Rosa to Las Vegas, and then home in that week. And all of a sudden, I wasn't going anywhere. And my network basically disappeared. My marketing disappeared. So I thought, okay, what do I do? I'm not alone here. And the week before, I had gotten together with a bunch of friends for dinner in our own places because it was getting very difficult it was just getting difficult. LA is not an easy city to drive around in, especially if one of our group lives in Huntington Beach, which is 2 hours south, and another lives in Reseda, which is 45 minutes north. And so we were having trouble. So we just said, let's do Zoom. And it worked. It was nice. So I thought, why don't I create dinner at your place? And so I just sent it out to my list. And I don't know, 30 people showed up. Mm-hmm. And we all had a good time. And some were eating dinner and some were having drinks. And even people from New York called. And because I have clients everywhere. And this last week, my friend and author, Christine Blasio, called in from Australia.
Yeah.
So it was a happening. And so then I asked God, I said, okay, so what else do people need? And what was interesting was that the hit I got was people are really upset, anxious, scared, stressed, and unhappy. Now I'm a hypnotherapist. And so I thought, okay, why don't I have them call me, everybody, tell me all their miseries, and I'll create a hypnosis process to make them feel better. Mm-hmm. And so I called that Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. And I did that on Thursdays at 5:00. And about 20 people showed up. And they all said, I'm this, I'm that. And it was a very, very down call. And I created a hypnosis process, and it became a, oh, thank you call. And everybody felt good. So I just decided to keep doing it. And so every Thursday I have Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. It's free. And every Friday I have dinner at your place. It's free. But interestingly, as a businesswoman, I am looking for ways to turn those calls into business opportunities. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay. And I just blurted it out to the group. I'm going to do a retreat. And they all said, where? And I said, your place. And so I did it. And 12 people showed up and they paid me.
Right.
And then I thought, how many of you want to do what I do when I help you change your mind to change your life? And I think 6 people said they wanted to. So I'm doing a certification. Now, this came from me giving away something for free.
Yeah.
And so I have 12 people in my You Are the Power Inner Mind class series. We're on number 4 this Saturday, followed immediately by my certification program. And there are 6 people in the certification program. I gave it at a stupidly low price, but they'll be certified Change Your Mind practitioners or Suzy Prudden practitioners. I haven't even named it yet. And they'll be able to do their own calls and their own programs. It's sort of like I'm the Pilates of hypnosis. But I'm not calling it hypnosis because these are not hypnotists. It's creative visualization.
Yeah.
So it's really, my technique is very simple.
Okay, let's not go into that because that's not the main reason we're here.
Oh,
so
I wasn't actually going to do much of the technique, but it is very simple. But the piece, Janet, that's important is I got an idea and I did it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. You just talked about 3 or more different ideas that you had because you were sitting at home saying, what next?
Exactly.
And you created them and you executed on them and you're making money from them.
Yeah.
So that's just such a powerful message. Shoot, we could do a whole nother podcast just talking about that. But what I really wanted to talk about today is the Itty Bitty Publishing. So the amazing Itty Bitty books. I love this idea. So let me just frame it for the audience how I got introduced to this. So I've known Suzy for a long, long time. And we were at an event together and she came up to me and I was actually working the event and she came up to me.
I was such a pest.
Well, she was a dog terrier, I love to call her, but in the most loving way. But she came up to me and she said, I've got this idea for this word book. So she'd had Itty Bitty, and we'll talk about that for a while. She'd had this publishing company. But she came up with this idea for a compilation book, which means a bunch of different authors contribute to it and she publishes it. And so it was the Itty Bitty word book. And the thing that got me was I had already been an Amazon best-selling author, so I wasn't that interested in another one of those, although that's nice. But she said, we're going to take it to New York Times best-selling author. And so I was super interested. I told everybody who was working the event with me, I'm like, you've got to buy this. But what I want to talk about is how Itty Bitty started, and then talk about... because I have 5 books and I'm a big proponent of you need a book. And so that's really what I want to explore in the next 30 minutes or whatever we have is why people need a book, why Itty Bitty is the easy way to get published, what the value of it is, because I think everyone should be published. So let's just start with how you started Itty Bitty and how it came to be.
It was an accident.
Brought to you by the universe, no doubt.
Brought to me by the universe. What was happening is my sister and I had a coaching hypnosis company at the time. And I was working at this originally it was with weight loss and then it morphed into working with entrepreneurs. And I was getting very tired of it. And the universe has a way of supporting everything you need. So the more tired of it I got, the fewer clients signed up. And I thought, well, this is not good. And 6 years before, in 2006, this was in 2014. In 2006, my sister and I had been at a conference in Las Vegas with James Malinchak. and he was talking about writing little books. I've only written big books. And so he's talking about little books. On the drive home, because I was in weight loss at that time, on the drive home, I said to my sister, I can write Suzy Prudden's itty bitty weight loss book. And that's how it started. We didn't know anything about publishing, anything. And that's not a good way to go into publishing. So she wrote the book because I was busy running the company. And it was called Suzy Prudden's Itty Bitty Weight Loss Book. We didn't know how to design covers. We knew nothing. And it was not a very attractive cover. Was not a very attractive book. It had good information, but you have to open the book to get the information.
Right.
And if it's not attractive, you're not going to open it.
Is your assistant cleaning out your office? Because I hear a lot of noise back.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Thank you. I didn't even notice it. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, she was. And thank you for pointing that out. So we bought the obligatory 2,000 copies. This is in 2006. I think I have 1,800 left. So I asked my sister in November of 2014 if she would make the book smaller. In November, I asked her if she could change the cover and make it a more a cover that people would want to read it, not a cover that people went, oh, that's not nice. And I also asked her to make the book smaller and shorter. And so at Christmas, when she was visiting me for the holiday, she showed me the cover. And she said, I have the new cover. And I looked at it and it said, Your Amazing Itty Bitty Weight Loss Book. And I turned to her and I said, are you sure you want to take my name off the cover? Because my name has been on everything since 1965. I'm a famous person. And she said, I don't care. And I'm looking at the cover. And I said, Pete, this is actually $1 million business. And we don't have to write the books. We were in business 3 days later. We had our first signed author 2 weeks later. And we had our first published book 3 months later. No, 6 weeks later. 6 weeks later.
And that is the beauty of you, Suzy Prudden. You come up with an idea and you, more so than probably anybody I know, execute on that. I mean, you get the idea and you're like, okay, we're going to figure out how to do it. And you go and figure out how to do it. I love that about you.
Thank you. And I love that about me too. It's exciting. It's like when I went to Bali, this was in 1993. I went to Bali. I was going to go visit my boyfriend in Hong Kong. And then I was going to go visit a friend in Bali. And I thought, well, I'm going to be over there. Why don't I create a new business and import stuff from Bali? So I got some money. People gave me some money. And I went. I bought all kinds of stuff. Had a wonderful time in Hong Kong. Had a wonderful time in China. I had a wonderful time in Bali. I came back with literally a boatload of stuff. I sold it all. And I realized one very important thing. I love buying and I love selling. I don't like schlepping.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Buy and sell, I'm good for. Schlepping, I don't want to do. A friend of mine said, Suzy, I've been researching going to Bali for 10 years. And you just did it. And she never did.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of you. Okay, so let's get back to the book. Talk about, because I'm sitting here looking at countless numbers of itty-bitty books that are sitting behind you. Why? And I'm the firm believer, as I said before we started this podcast, I have 5 books. And I'm a firm believer that everybody needs a book. But not everybody understands that. So I'm sure there are people sitting out there at home, either not working or not working like they used to, that have a book inside them or are thinking that'd be cool, but I can't do it. So why, let's start with just entrepreneurs and then we'll get to anybody, but why would an entrepreneur need a book? What use could they have for that in their business?
I look at a book as a business builder. I'm an avid reader. I read novels. I just finished a 900-page novel this week that by Ken Follett, wonderful author. And most people, but start again. Every book is a business builder for an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur needs a book to position them as an expert in their field, to position them as the authority, so that you'll see over my right shoulder, I'm sitting there with Oprah and one of my books. It's a book published by Hay House, MetaFitness, Your Thoughts Taking Shape. That book got me on the Oprah show. And the show, the full hour, was about me and my topic. That would not have happened without the book.
Yeah.
I paid a publicist to get me on the Oprah show, but he had to have something to use to get me there. That's why you want a book. Now, itty bitty books are short, and they're short for a very important reason. 95% of Americans don't read. Everyone needs information. So our itty bitty books are 30 pages, 15 chapters, two pages for each chapter. What it does is it allows the business person, the entrepreneur, the expert, to give the reader as much information as they need without overwhelming them, so that they can then go to the author's website. They can participate in seminars with that author if they want more information. And so what I do with the authors is say, okay, where do you want to take the next step? How do you want to use your book? I just got off the phone. This is a great topic, with a consultant who is writing a book about starting your own business. And we were talking about the power of that book has right now. This is a moment in time that will not probably come again, where so many people have lost their jobs. They have to do something, and they don't know how. So I get this call today. He wants to do this book. And I said, are you aware how important your topic is? And he knew it was a good topic, but he wasn't quite sure. I said, there are going to be thousands of people who don't have work right now. Mm-hmm. They have to do something, and they don't know how. And they're deer in the headlights. I talked to a woman recently who said, I'm just a housewife. And I said, excuse me, are you aware of what's going on today with women, housewives, and the job they have with their children? They're homeschooling them now, which they weren't a year ago. That is, and it wasn't even then, it's been forever, the most important job you can have is raising kids and taking care of the home. And so all of a sudden it was like, I never thought of that, because she's just being a quote unquote housewife.
Yeah.
But now I can say you can direct people to do it in a way that benefits the family and the neighborhood even more.
And the beautiful thing, because I know your process pretty well. So talk a little bit about, I have an idea and I have some thoughts and I know what I know how to do, but you'll walk me through your formula for how I take my intellectual property, the stuff that I know, and put it into a formula of an itty bitty book. And then you'll also help me figure out, what do I do with the book? Because
exactly.
There's a lot of people who write books and don't have any idea what to do with them once they're written.
And it's interesting because there are a lot of people at itty bitty who've written books, and I've talked to them about starting a certification program or consulting program or all the stuff that they can do with the books. And it's the 80-20 rule.
Sure.
80% of them don't do anything and wonder why they're not making any money. 20% are killing it.
Yeah.
And they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all I can do is lead the horse to water, so to speak. But what happens for me, Janet, the ideas just pop. It's wonderful. It's so exciting. I get an idea what this gentleman I spoke to earlier, the program he wants to do is be your own boss. And I'll teach you how. Mm-hmm. And I saw seminars, I saw podcasts, I saw a certification program. I mean, all of these different things that he can do with his itty bitty book.
Yeah. And
if it were a bigger book, it would be more difficult because you have to wade through a lot of information. In an itty bitty book, it's concise, it's quick, it's to the point.
And I love that. I mean, my books, the itty bitty book, but I have other books, and they're, I don't know, a couple 180 pages, 150 pages. But at the end of the day, I'm in full agreement with you. The reason I wrote my last book is because I needed an elaborate business card, right? And I needed a way to differentiate myself, show what I do, show my process of how I coach people. It's amazing because I've written a bunch of books. I've written 5. So I know that the process, and I've honed the process. You make the process incredibly easy because it's short and it's concise. But it's amazing when I say I'm an Amazon best-selling author, people just, they're like, no way. I mean, that adds a level of credibility that very, very, very few people have.
You're actually an international
And now I'm an
bestseller.
international. My dog's very happy about that too. Sorry about that. We have a little barking going on. But yeah, that's right. You took me to international Amazon bestseller. So the process is there and the help is there.
What we do is we send everybody a how to write an itty bitty book. That we then send them an itty bitty book as an example, and then we send them a template and say, just fill in the template.
Yeah.
And you'll be amazed at how many templates come in upside down and backwards. And it's no. Go back, start again, do it this way. Yes, but no, but do it this way. I got a book today and it was perfect. And I'm talking to my client and I said, this is perfect. You follow directions. And she said, of course I do. It was like, but of course I do. Well, she has no idea how many people don't. And it was just wonderful to get this book, to go over it with her and say, this is perfect. Keep going.
Yeah. And you walk them through the process if they don't necessarily get there on their first shot, if you will.
Well, we have to, because the only way we're going to get the book the way we're going to get the book, which is a priority system, and every single itty bitty book looks like every other itty bitty book.
It's a brand.
It's a brand. And so it has to, and we've had people argue with us and say, yes, but I want to do it this way. It's not an itty bitty book.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting. And there's two different attitudes. It's very challenging to write a short book. It's easier to write a long book. And then it is. And then we have people who say, oh boy, that was easy.
That was easy.
I have my easy button here.
You have your easy button there.
I found it recently. And it's exciting to see people's excitement.
Yeah.
And then it's exciting to see what they do with it. With like Anthony Camacho turning his $100,000 business into a $750,000 business, using his itty bitty book as a marketing tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed him on this podcast as well. So there's a couple of other components that I want to bring out. You're so close to what you do that you may not see I'm sure you see the value, but you don't see the importance of some of the things that you do that I see. And so one of them, I'll talk about 2 of them. One of them is we as the itty bitty book or publishing book community, we use each other to get to Amazon bestselling status.
Yes.
I mean, there is a community, there is a process, there is a well-oiled machine that gets people to. So it's not guaranteed, I'm sure. It's not guaranteed.
We can't guarantee it, but out of 74, we've had 74 bestsellers.
Yeah, exactly. So we know it works. And the more authors that you get, the easier it is because it's a numbers game. So that's one thing that I think is awesome, because you can easily become a best-selling author using your itty-bitty book. I mean, that's just pretty much what's going to happen. The other thing we talked about it I've been on a couple of podcasts today, and a common theme that we've talked about today is the community that comes with the itty bitty authorship. And so you actually, in 30 minutes, we're going to jump on a call. I go on the call almost every Tuesday night with all of the itty bitty authors. So Suzy hosts a call every Tuesday for all of the authors to come and just talk. What's working? What's not working? How do we support each other?
Also, what I've recently started to do is bring an expert on the call so that we can not only confer back and forth and talk with each other, but we receive the information from an expert. The first time it was Jason Webb, who's a best-selling author with us on trademark. And last week was Ann Bennett on branding. She's an author. Tonight it's Henry Kloka, and he's going to talk about the importance of email and how to get people to open your email.
Mm-hmm. Anthony was on there. I think he was your first one talking about
he was.
How to use your book.
Yes,
and then
he was.
Janet will soon be booked on your...
Well, I was going to ask you if you want to be on next week. So,
yeah.
But yeah, well, that's handled.
But that's great, because not only is it the community, which has come up so many times in my conversations today, but now it's education and community. And that's just great. I love that you're providing that kind of thing. So we've talked a lot. Go ahead.
Well, I asked God, and I said, what do people need?
Yeah.
And the response was community.
Yeah.
Connection. And I went, okay.
I'll be the vehicle for that.
Yeah.
So talking about becoming an author, we've focused on business, how you use it for your business, but there are a lot of people out there, and I'm sure there's itty bitty authors out there who aren't necessarily using it as a business, or maybe we'll talk about your other publishing company, Legacy, you tell me, but there are people out there that have a book in them, and it's not the business card for their book, it's a book in them. And talk about that and how you need to get that book out. And if you've got time right now because you're not working, now is a great time to get that out of you. So talk about that.
Well, I've been doing Itty Bitty since January 2015. And it's a brand. It does not deviate. And people kept saying, yes, but I have this story I want to tell, or I want to talk about my grandparents when they came to this country, or this memoir that my father handed down to me from his father, something like that. And another person said to me, I have a friend who wants to write a novel. And so I thought, okay, I'll start another company. And I started Legacy Press. And I started Legacy Press because the first books that Legacy Press did do were memoirs. Mm-hmm. And now we have a novel coming out and another memoir coming out in next month or later this month. And so if somebody's got a story that they're just bursting to tell, we have the vehicle for them to tell it.
Yeah. And
we do the editing, we do the formatting, we do the whole shebang. You give us your book and a lot of money, and then I'm all into making money, and I want to make money for my clients, and I want to make money for myself.
No, I love that.
Yeah, and I'm not shy about it. I even give lectures on it. So then people kept coming to me and saying, I want to do a children's book. And I know nothing about children's books, but my assistant does. So I said, okay. Now, at that time, my sister was still my business partner. She has since retired. I knew she didn't want to do children's books, so I had to present it to her in a way that she wouldn't balk at it. And she has this little dog. It's a Chihuahua. It's a rescue. And in her family, she lives with her daughter and son-in-law and grandson. They have big dogs. They just got, I told you this the other day, they just got 2 huskies on Sunday. And they're talky dogs. And those dogs were talking all the time. And so this little dog, they call little dog because then they have a pack of big dogs. And I thought, okay, we'll call the children's book line Little Dog Press. So I told her, and instead of saying, I don't want to do it, she went, oh.
You know how to rope them in, Suzy.
You have to go to where, it's so funny one time with my boyfriend, and we were he's no longer my boyfriend. I was visiting him with his son in the Philippines. And his son one day wanted to go to McDonald's and asked his father. His father said no. So we were in town again a couple of days later, and I thought, and I knew it was the right time. And I said, it would be nice to stop off at McDonald's on our way home. And And John said yes. And Josh looked at me and said, how come he says yes to you and not to me? I said, it's framing and timing.
Absolutely. It's framing and timing.
Yeah.
So that's good. So great. So I am going to wrap with that. Sorry, my social media is going crazy here. So dinner at your place, is dinner at your place open to anybody?
Right now, yes.
Okay. So I'll put a link to the Facebook page in the show notes.
Okay.
Your mind, your body, is that also?
Change Your Mind, Change Your Body. Not Change Your Mind, Change Your Body. That's a book. Change Your Mind, Change Your Life is right now open to anybody.
Okay. So
and
I will
eventually it won't be, but right now it is.
Okay. Well, and that's great. So if people want to get a taste of what our craziness is on a Friday or a Thursday, I don't usually make
bring their glass of wine and themselves.
But yeah, it's been a great thing for me. I have to say, I'm there almost every Friday. It's just a great group of people. And I'll say this too. I'll just be completely open about it. I've gotten clients from being on on that call. That
is my underlying intention is for people to get clients. And I want to do it in a way that it's relationship wise.
And that's exactly what it is. We don't talk about, like, I'll talk about maybe my win for the week or something like that, but I'm not there saying, hey, come, let me coach you. That's just not what it's all about. But you get to know people at a level, and then you find people that you want to work with. And that's kind of what it's all about. So.
And then if people want to check out the Itty Bitty website, it's
put a link to that as well.
Okay. Perfect. And then if you want to talk to me, there's something to fill out there, and you can call me, and you can't call me. You can contact me, and we set up an appointment to talk to me. I love what I'm doing. Love what I'm doing. And if you had asked me when I first started out in business if I'd be a publisher, I wouldn't even think of something like that. I'm always the one that has to be out in front, and being a publisher is in the back. But I just got a radio show in New York City, so I'm very excited about that.
Yes,
start tomorrow.
I am looking forward to being a guest on that for sure.
Definitely.
And here's what I'll say about, yes, you're a publisher, but in your heart, you're a coach, right? Whether it's weight loss, whether it's the mindset, whether it's business.
Yes.
And while you say I'm a publisher and I'm in the back, you're not in the back. You're in the front. Maybe not when I've got my book and I'm selling my book, but you're in the front to entrepreneurs to bring them into your fold.
And I've got 50 years of experience that I bring to the table on what to do and what not to do, and how to do it and how not to do it.
Well, and I'll say you also have a level of, you use the word intuition, so I'll use that word. You have a level of intuition. You have a level of connection or openness to the universe, that because we all have a connection to the universe, but we don't necessarily always listen to the messages that come. You are very open to, one, intuition, and two, I need something right now. Universe, bring it to me. If you want to hear some good stories about that, go listen to episode 15 that I did with Suzy back in May, because she talks about her unbelievable story and how her just being open to the universe brought her out of homelessness and all of the things. She went from Oprah to in her car, right?
I never slept in my car.
Okay, well, sorry.
There's a big distinction there. I'm a snob homeless person.
Okay, she's a snob because she was staying at people's houses in Malibu and she had no place to stay. But you should go and listen to that podcast, because she's got some great stories to tell. Suzy, thank you so much.
Thanks,
I really
Janet.
appreciate you being here. So, Breakaway Entrepreneurs, I just want to remind you that it's success that starts with your mindset, but it's massive action that gets you there. Heartfelt thank you to you, Suzy.
Thank you. It's always wonderful to spend time with you.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited, and I'll see you in my call in the next 14 minutes.
Yep.
All right, we've got Ben. He's going to take us out. So thank you, Suzy.
Thank you for listening to the Breakaway Entrepreneur Podcast. If you like the show, please rate, recommend, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts so we can share more actionable insights with the entrepreneur community. Until next time, challenge your mindset, be bold, take action, and financial freedom will follow. You can get helpful resources and templates to guide and inspire you from Janet's free Breakaway Entrepreneur Toolkit. Get it now by going to www.breakawaybusinesscoaching.com/toolkit.